Hey everybody, this is Macabre Matty here with another installment of our martial arts month. We are entering our fourth week of martial arts, and got some pretty interesting picks for you today. Not sure if you were able to guess them from the hints I dropped earlier in the week, but one of them happens to be right here on my shirt. Now you might be asking, did you buy a shirt just for this? And I would say no, it's just a really happy accident because I absolutely fucking love Ichi the Killer. Now, if you haven't seen Ichi the Killer before, I don't know what to tell you, but you're in for quite a ride. There's everything about this movie is so transgressive, and it's a Takashi Miike film, so most important to note. If you know anything about Takashi Miike, aside from the fact he's directed over 100 films and television shows, is that he does not censor anything he does. So this has some of the most grotesque, hilarious, disgusting moments ever captured on film, including a credit scene that is made entirely of semen. So if the synopsis here is pretty straightforward, although it's a bit madness. It's kind of a Yakuza story, but a Yakuza story on like kratom and meth or something like that, where you have a killer who's out there killing Yakuza bosses, and you have this guy on the cover, Kakahari, who's trying to take over in the absence of those bosses dying. And in the process, we see who the killer is, what they're going to do to Kakahari, and I don't know. It's really hard to talk about this movie without going into specifics and possibly ruining it. So if you have not seen Ichi the Killer, what the fuck are you doing? Get on that right now. You can find this. This is a Well Go USA release for North America. I'm pretty sure this has coverage across regions. So no matter where you live in the world, you should be able to find this either in physical copy or in some sort of streaming. So yeah, Ichi the Killer, so much fun, really gross, the kind of movie that you might lose a couple friends to. And I stole that from Sweaty Joe Spinell on Instagram. So thank you for an awesome way of saying here's a movie that might make you a bit of a deterrent to people. So let's move on to the second movie for Martial Arts Month in week 4, and this is The Oily Maniac. Now this has been kind of compared, even on the back of it, to Troma's Toxic Avenger. I don't know if that's entirely accurate because they claim it came before the Toxic Avenger, so I don't really know how you would... kind of sounds like they're trying to latch on to those coattails. But this is a Shaw Brothers film, quite infamous if in the world of Shaw Brothers cinema, in that it is not so much a kung fu movie as much as it is more kind of a horror superhero movie. I can't tell you the plot's that coherent. To be quite honest, I don't really know I followed it all that well. But the best way to describe this is a guy is wronged, and he comes across a magic spell that allows him to turn into a giant puddle of oil, and also an oil monster, which makes him absolutely indestructible to all of his foes. And he just goes around taking people out, rapists, murderers, those who have wronged him. If I'm being honest, I think this one has a bit more hype behind it than it actually delivers upon. There's far more entertaining films like The Boxer's Omen, for example, from Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest that are just way more fun. This one gets a bit redundant, but nonetheless, it's worth seeing just because they use a version of the Jaws theme to show the oil slick kind of moving around. And there's just some pretty memorable scenes. One in particular is the oil slick going up to the ceiling in the middle of what I think is an abortion or a birth. I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell. Maybe it was a gynecologist appointment. But he just drops down right in the middle of that. And yeah, it's not, it's probably a sleazier Shaw Brothers film than most are used to. But nonetheless, if you consider yourself a fan of absolutely batshit cinema, this should probably go on your list. So again, for week 4, Ichi the Killer, Oily Maniac. The Oily Maniac release, this is a 88 Films release out in the UK. If you don't have a region free player, I don't know where you might be able to watch this. You might be able to rent it on streaming somewhere. I don't believe it's actually streaming on like your major services, a la Netflix, Amazon. So maybe check other ones like the Arrow Player, Tubi. You never know what you're gonna find. In the worst case, you can go on YouTube, which we don't condone, but hey, if you gotta watch, you gotta watch. So that's it for this week. We've got one more week of martial arts coming up. And as always, if you like this video, please leave a comment or subscribe to the channel. If you don't like this video, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Leave a comment, subscribe. Just maybe you hate me so much you just want to keep watching it. I don't know. I don't care. But till then, be good, stay safe, and above all, watch more horror movies.